chairwoman of the ADA Roundtable, and I just appreciate you taking the time to be here and to help us provide feedback and input for the city officials in addressing ADA issues here in Fishers. So I wanted to introduce our deputy mayor, Leah.
Thank you, Ian and Brad. It is so exciting to see where this growth even since our last time together, and appreciate all of you taking time to be here. Really appreciate it, especially all that Cecilia has done. I'm sure you're going to get to a few of these things, but I wanted to congratulate you and so many who have worked on a couple of things that we've been able to,
thank you, see progress on in the last few months. You are going to hear from, hopefully, Steve Davison. I just texted to make sure we have our ducks in a row there, to make sure he's able to be here to talk about a special needs registry that they had kind of begun, but I think your involvement has really helped them take it to the next level, and we're excited about what's coming there. I know that we're going to hear a fabulous, I've been able to, and fortunate to see some of the minutes from the meetings for the ADA, the March Disability Awareness subcommittee meetings, and there are so many incredible ideas. I think it's going to be a great month for our community. But also, in the last month, we did receive word, Tony Elliott, oh, come on up here. Tony Elliott, our director, our parks director, worked with Cecilia as well in securing some grant dollars from the Kiwanis Club locally, as well as from our Parks Foundation, to offset the funding for a glider swing. That's a wheelchair glider swing. So some of you may have heard that news already, but we're really excited about that. The installation is planned for at Holland Park sometime next spring, probably coinciding in March, as hoping weather works out for that, so we can make that happen. But just some of the updates, I was thinking about the progress that has happened since the last time we all gathered, and I'm really excited about that. So thank you for your leadership, and excited for tonight.
I also want to introduce Caleb Gutshaw. He is our ADA coordinator for the city of Fishers. Caleb, did you want to share a few words of what you do?
And community development department for the past about year and a half. I served as ADA coordinator. So if you ever need questions or concerns regarding any ADA events or issues, please feel free to contact me. My email address is on the bottom of the agenda. So look forward to hearing from you.
Kelly here. Sometimes you receive emails from Kelly Lewart. She's our office manager for the Department of Community Development. But if you ever have another request or a question and you can't get a hold of Caleb or myself, Kelly is probably your go-to there. So she helps keep the wheels in motion for all of us.
So I was just thinking that we could maybe quickly just go around the room and just introduce ourselves to the group, and we'll do that before we get going. So did you want to start?
Sure.
Okay, perfect.
My name is Leslie Brown. I am the autism specialist, and I work for Hamilton Southeastern School.
Services. Doug Manuel, here at Florida. Steve for senior citizens. People
Patrick School lead assistants at Fishers High School and coach of our track team.
Yeah.
I'm Lindsay Wright, and I have the opportunity to pass the road. I'm a American student here.
I'm Bob Faust, I'm a citizen. I live in Sutton Crossing, community.
I'm in the Triple S for the Sun Crossing, and
I'm over Sutton in the parent of special needs daughter, and he's had a supportive living condominium in Sutton Crossing, and we've got several different special needs in the condominium under the supportive.
I'm Jose Wagner. I'm a Sorensen Communication Video Relay Service. I'm responsible for Indiana, Tennessee, Kentucky, and I'm a deaf person. I'm Greg Gant, and I'm here as a community liaison for Interact Indiana that provides telecommunication services for deaf and hard of hearing. Hello, and I'm George Martin. I'm a deaf rights advocate for the state of Indiana. Live in Fishers for 20 years now. I enjoy being here, but also very passionate and being involved with politics and government and wanting to gather ideas and share that. So that's where we can get going and get things improved.
I'm Julie Katie, and I lead a parent support group for children with autism. And we meet twice a month with an evening meeting and a morning meeting amongst the parents and if you need any additional information for any parent that you have that needs some support from the parents, just let me know.
Chrissy, you want to?
I'm Shelley Allen, and I'm a parent of a brand new son, but I also happen to be special ed secretary for Hamilton Southeastern Schools, and my son is a very active client of OPG opportunities.
Great.
Just to make room so you
Yeah, there's,
and we have one more. Still has to be introduced.
You know what? I am so sorry. Chief Davidson just texted me. He had a family issue and had to get home.
oh, okay, no worries.
So
Well,
maybe we can do that at the next meeting. I know he is excited to
sure,
talk about
sure.
it.
Well, or I can
Kind of talk through
talk
it.
about it
Okay.
a little bit. So I want to thank everybody for coming in. There is a sign-up sheet going around. If everybody could fill that out again so that we make sure that you're in the database and get all the information of what we're doing here in Fishers for the ADA Roundtable, and also get you plugged into some committees. So we had our summer, for those of you that weren't here, we met over the summer, and we started our first committee on the ADA Roundtable, which was to form a committee for March Disability Awareness Month for 2017, and to do a month-long programming of activities and awareness to highlight different disabilities and to educate our community. And so we formed a committee, and we've been meeting this summer, and I'm really, really excited because we've got a lot of exciting things going on. But one of them, and Chief Davison couldn't be here, he was going to kind of review what we were working on, but we are going to launch out a formal special registry for people with special needs. And basically it's going to be something that we're going to give it an acronym, and it's going to be something on the website that people can register and put in information, so when a first responder gets to your home, they have that information available to them so that they can anticipate any issues or special needs that might be happening there in the home. So it's really, really exciting. So he was going to talk about that and kind of show you, because it's through a map. So when they put in the address, it'll show the map of the home. It'll show all the information there. And then they're also going to be doing these magnets that have like the medical history of the person. They're going to launch that out so that they can scan the magnet on the refrigerator, and that person's medications will come up. And we're also going to work on plugging everybody into the program that they have now. It's, what's it?
So we have a paramedicine
Yes.
program that you may have heard of before, but it has to do with where it began and where we're talking about expanding. It began in a partnership with community hospitals, specifically with cardiovascular patients, where we were noticing, our EMS was noticing, we were going back to the same houses sometimes more than once. And often there was a correlation between a patient who had been released from the hospital due to a heart surgery or something like that, and maybe there was a fall or confusion around medication that led to a 911 call, and our EMS would go out there. So in partnership with community hospitals, if you have a heart procedure done there, part of the discharge, they'll say, hey, would you like to be part of the Fishers paramedicine program if you live in Fishers? And it involves someone coming out to your house, maybe calling, checking on you, reviewing your medications with you, looking for trip hazards around the home, and getting it safe. So what we're talking about doing now, and Cecilia's worked quite a bit on, is expanding that program to the special needs as well. Registry, so you have your registry, but if you also wanted to opt in, maybe you have a new diagnosis or a new situation, especially in those kinds of situations, I think it could be really useful to have that home visit and try to get connected. So that's what we're looking at. We've also been looking at expanding that along with the mental health initiative. So what happens right now, you probably have read a lot about it, is if we've got, it could really be anyone who has been admitted for a stress center down at community hospital, and maybe they've been there for 72 hours. Sometimes it's our youth. Perhaps when they're released, there's not a whole lot of follow-up because nobody knows that student. School doesn't always know. We don't know, right? The hospital knows. So part of what they're talking about doing is the same kind of discharge, and that information being able to, again, voluntarily, if the parents say okay, or if the patient says okay, that information being transmitted to the schools as well as to our EMS, so they can do some follow-up there as well. So it all fits that broader initiative of kind of being proactive.
So stay tuned. We'll try to see if we can get him to come and highlight the program again before we actually launch it out in March, because we wanted some feedback. What he was going to do was run you through the process and have you look at the registry itself to give some feedback as to, do we need to add something? Is there something we haven't thought of?
Right.
And so maybe what we can do is figure out either a special meeting or do something where we can have you take a look at it before we actually launch it out in February. So great. So next we're having two presentations today. One presentation is Opportunities for Positive Growth. They're a organization here that helps people with special needs, and Michelle Stelz is the Director of Business Operations. I believe she's going to be presenting.
Just kind of kick it off, but then turn it over to some of our folks and get a look at it.
Yeah, if you want to come up here, there's a microphone and there's a mouse here that is supposed to help with this touch screen.
And Opportunities for Positive Growth, they are an organization that is here in Fishers, and so that was one of the things that we want to try to do at each ADA Roundtable, is just provide you with the resources that are available here in our community or within the Hamilton County area, so that we can, take it back to our colleagues, our residents, our friends, family, and know, what resources that we have here available.
Technology.
So Michelle, I'd like to go ahead and get you started.
So just really quick, don't want to take up a whole lot of time in this meeting. I know everybody's time is very valuable, but want to introduce you to some of our folks and kind of tell you a little bit about who we are as a community partner, as a business in Fishers, but also some of the services that we provide and some of the folks that you may see around the community. Gail calls, she's not here, she's with her mom out of state with some medical things, but she founded the company. And just the mission statement, OPG is a human service agency committed to providing meaningful and dignified support to individuals with intellectual disabilities, focusing on a person's skill development to improve the individual's quality of life. So the company started in '98 with providing strictly behavior support services. In 2002, we expanded to residential community supports and music therapy. In 2008, we moved the corporate offices from Noblesville to Fishers, and we're right next to Sky Zone over on 121st Street. In 2011 and 2015, we received 4-year accreditations from CQL. And one of the things that we are very proud of that in 2015, we were the first company in the world to receive a 4-year accreditation. CQL does accreditations internationally, and so you can get different levels, and so one was the 4-year with distinction, so I don't want to mess that up. And in 2015, last year, we added employment services, or what some of you guys may know as vocational rehab services. Oh. Just a little bit about us as a company. We have 3 office locations in Fishers, Kokomo, and Lafayette. We serve over 900 people with at least one service provided, so we may have some folks that receive 3 or 4 of our services, but at least 900 different folks are in and out through our services. We have over 230 employees, with about 175 of those in the Fishers, Hamilton County, North Indianapolis area. We have staff that's involved with different state committees, the Indiana Association of Behavior Consultants, the Association for Indiana Music Therapy, and the ARC of Indiana. So other connections throughout the state of Indiana. Oh, let's see. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. And just as a business, from a business perspective, OPG is an employee stock ownership plan. So in 2010, we transferred all of our ownership from Dan and Gail Call to the employees. So as terms of a business, as terms of a business partner in the community, we're a business that's going to stay in the community. And as part of that, we have employees. Also, it's a wealth building for the employees. So we have 147 employees who, through the stock plan, have almost $1 million of accumulated wealth through that. So not only as a service provider, but as a business, that's also a contribution back into the community. Oh, this is not good.
This thing gets me every time.
It's hard when you can't see it.
I know. There you go. I think
There we
it's
go.
opening. Let's see. See if you can just click. Let's try. There we go. If you just hit page down.
Okay.
That might be.
This is more fancy than what we have. Okay. So I'm going to turn it over to
Sorry,
Lucy. These are all of our directors as they introduce themselves, to just give you a little bit more specifics about what we do and what you may see our staff do in the community.
All right, good evening. My name is Lucy Lund. I'm the Executive Director for Self-Directed Services. I wanted to start our slide with a quote because it really speaks to what we try to instill within our services overall, whether we support someone a couple hours a week or 24 hours a day. So you are never too old to set another goal or dream or new dream. The services provided within our department is often within someone's home. It can be 24 hours a day. Some people live together with 3 or 4 housemates, or 3 housemates, or up to 4 people. In their preferred community settings, some people we meet at different libraries, we meet at restaurants, we meet at the Fisher's office, we meet all over town. Then there's also some people where we support within their own homes in what we call a drop-in model, where we go in, support someone to learn independent skills, whether it's cooking, cleaning, working on homework, or social skills in a group model. But we do that in a drop-in so they live within their family home. There are 2 waivers that we operate under. We operate under 2 Medicaid waivers. One's the Community Integration and Habilitation Waiver, and another is called the Family Supports Waiver. The Family Supports Waiver can be expanded by pairing people with smaller groups so that their waiver can be expanded and they can work on more goal development than if it's set to a one-on-one ratio. So that's something we're doing in all of our models of service. Our services are generated from a personal outcome measures interview, and that ties to our accreditation with the Council on Quality and Leadership. So we look at where someone's at currently, and we call that myself. And then we look at where they like to go, and we call that my world. I also phrase that under the umbrella of my story. This is where someone's currently at, and it's important for our employees that are supporting someone to know that. But then we look at my dreams, and we want to know where that person wants to go, so then it comes back into their story. So that drives every service we provide. We use dreams in everything we do. We start all of our meetings, whether it's a team meeting or an employee-based meeting, looking at dreams so that if the employees aren't looking at moving forward, how can they help the people we support have that same philosophy as well? So we challenge that in everything we do. After you know someone's dreams, you have to know champions and who those people are that are going to be supporting you along the way. So that becomes part of the goal development strategy that we work on with people as well. Within our department, we have 4 core goal areas: health, safety, community connections, and natural supports. So we want to make sure, of course, everyone is safe and healthy, but I define health different than other people define health. And I define safety different than other people define safety. So we know what those umbrella headings are for the services we provide, but we got to be individualized in everything we do. Gina.
Hi, I'm Gina Schenk, the Executive Director of Behavioral Supports. And was it page down? So I supervise all of the behavior support services at OPG. We are committed to providing meaningful and dignified supports to people with developmental and intellectual disabilities, and we really focus on positive skill development and the person's quality of life. So when we talk about positive skill development, to be able to have behavioral supports as a service on the waiver, you do have to identify some problematic behaviors that the person may be experiencing. What we try to do, though, after we identify what those are, is we identify the positive skills that we can replace and try to support those negative behaviors so that we can replace them with positive ones. So, again, our services are designed to provide support to people whose behavioral challenges cause them to possibly be unsuccessful in living in their communities, in their family home, independently in their communities, being able to go to school successfully, and to be able to participate fully as a member of society and their community. We focus on specific behavioral challenges, as I noticed, or as I already mentioned, and I hit the button. I'm sorry. This one? Yep. This one? I'm sorry. There we go. Okay. Forget where I was. I'm so sorry. So some of the replacement skills that we definitely work on are appropriate expression of feelings and emotions, to be able to express someone's wants or desires, assertiveness, coping strategies, stress reduction, and positive relationships. So, for example, the appropriate expression of emotions. So if someone has had an experience of expressing feelings in a negative way and then getting what they want or need, it's really important to teach someone a replacement strategy, being able to express, even if they are nonverbal, to be able to give them some type of ability through either pictures, communication, sign language, those types of things, to be able to communicate that need in a positive and appropriate way so that they can get their needs met in that way, and that makes them more successful in all the environments that they participate in. And another important goal that we have in for our services is to assist the person in building and maintaining natural support networks. We provide services in the person's home, at work, in the school, and in the community based on the level of need that the person has. So how we provide the services, when we basically get started with a person, we do a full, what's called a functional behavioral assessment that includes interviews with the person supported and all the people that they know the best. And so we identify the most problematic behaviors that are causing them to not be successful, and we really target in on that. We don't work on every issue because that would just, not work, but we really specifically target some behaviors, and then we identify strategies within a document called a behavior support plan that helps identify proactive strategies, and we do have to have reactive strategies as well if a behavior occurs. What do you do afterwards? What can staff do to help that person regain their composure and to be able to get right back into their day after a negative behavior? We provide ongoing support in the form of implementation of the FBA BSP. We train all the staff, family members if they prefer that. We don't train school personnel because that's not allowed on the waiver. We are allowed to consult, go to IEP meetings and observe, and that's it. And then we also attend psychiatric appointments with people if they choose. If parents want us to come, they say yes. Or if they feel like they just want some information to take to the doctor, we certainly provide that as well. And then we really track progress of the BSP through goal development and then data tracking to see if the BSP is being successful at helping the person improve on gaining those replacement skills. And that's it for me. And this is Lindsay Wright, our Director of Music Therapy.
Hello, everybody. Let me see if I know how to change this. Yay. Okay, so we work on functional skills through music in music therapy services. We provide music therapy, mostly clinic-based, but we also do some in-home therapy in the Lafayette, Kokomo, Indianapolis, Anderson, and Marion communities and surrounding areas. We also do some music therapy in the school settings through the Department of Education funding. We do waiver funding in home and in the clinic, and we do private pay as well. Let's see. So we target a lot of different skills, functional skills, that help people in everyday life. So anything within the domains of communication, cognition, motor, emotional, social, and sensory needs. We work on those skills through musical activities that are preferred, like a preferred genre, a preferred instrument, or preferred topics. And so we work on those skills in a fun musical environment. So once we gain these skills, then we're able to hold a job, maintain a job, interact with the community, get out of the house more often, reach different milestones with education. So these functional skills help in those everyday settings outside of the music therapy session. Oh, and yeah, I guess that's it.
Hello, I'm Sean Power, the Coordinator of Employment Services for OPG, also known as the Voc Rehab Services. Employment Services for OPG is kind of like the new kid on the block. We didn't start until 2015, but we've grown quickly, and we're hoping to expand within the next couple months. Our goals are to assist the individuals we serve in finding and maintaining meaningful and equal employment in the communities where they live. That's a big thing for us. Everybody has the right to work in the community in which they live, and they deserve equal opportunity in that employment place. We provide employers with an extra asset in the workplace to assist those individuals in need, and we try to build strong partnerships in the community between employers and the individuals we support. Kind of a brief breakdown of the way employment services work. Every person that we work with either has a waiver or has an authorization through vocational rehabilitation services. Once their case is opened with VR, then we go into several different processes of discovery, which is finding who that person is and what type of job works best for them, where that place is that they work best. And we do that through assessments, job shadows, and then eventually job placement. And then 3 to 4 months later, that person is successfully closed out. And if they have a waiver, then they're switched over to waiver funding. And if not, then they're independent enough to maintain employment on their own. That's it.
So a lot of these, there are a lot of great things going on, but also wanted to give you just an idea. I know we had some folks from Janet's talk last time who are focused a lot on the during the day type of activities, but wanted to give you another perspective of some others of another organization and things that happen before somebody would get there or after or even during the day as well. A lot of our funding, folks have to qualify for it, and the qualifications are for the waiver are a lot of the intellectual and developmental disabilities. We do have folks who have multiple diagnoses, so we have folks who have visual and hearing impairments, who have mobility disabilities or mobility restrictions. So we cover a lot of different areas, not just the cognitive ones. And so just kind of a little brief about us, about who we are here in Fishers. Some of the folks will have to run off, but some of us will be here for a while, so if you have any questions, let us know.
Can you ask some questions now?
Oh,
Can you
yeah.
talk a little bit about also that you are also meeting people who might be interested in working at OPG, helping people with disabilities?
Sure, you want to, here, I'm going to have Miss Lucy up here, because I want to give her.
I will gladly answer that question. We, this past 18 months has really been especially hard in terms of finding the best direct support professionals, and they are the people that work in someone's home, in the community, or in a 24-hour support model. And, you know, there could be numerous causes behind it, but we are really always looking for the best employees that we can find because we want to ensure that they are providing only the highest quality of service that we can find. So, you know, we always have openings, but our schedules aren't, as Michelle said, typical schedules. We have people that work all day, every day, and we have, at any given point of time, 10 employees within the company always working. And I always try to get our overnights connected in some way, shape, or form so that, you know, that 4 a.m. hour when things are rough, that they have someone that they can call and talk to, or need someone to just chat to stay awake, or whatever their needs are. But we always have someone working, so we're not hiring typical schedules. So we're always looking for good people. Oh, what qualifications? They have to be 18, have to have a driver's license and auto insurance. Let's see, pass a TB test. And,
I've seen them right there. Yeah.
yeah, but they have to be good.
Yeah.
Champions.
Champions. Really that person who's going to help, who has that goal-driven mentality for themselves, that's going to help somebody break that goal down and help them build into those steps and help them meet those steps in the community and home, those type of things. So.
How many individuals do you serve today?
We have over 900 contracts from the state, and of those folks, some may just have one service with us, may just have music therapy, or there are folks who have all 4 services represented. So some combination of those. We probably have 155 in the greater Indianapolis area, more than that?
90.
90 that we serve through the self-directed services. So in their homes or out their communities, so. Yeah, there's no restriction on age, any of those things. It's really has to do with your your willingness to want to help somebody, to be involved with somebody, to be out in the community, to be, because we do have some individuals who have some physical limitations, so you may need to have the ability to lift or to help somebody in and out of a car, of a wheelchair, or help them walk or whatever, but there's no age restriction or other than you have to be at least 18, or interest level or background or any type of thing, so.
What are the main ages of the groups or the individuals you support?
We have folks in music therapy. I know you have some, like.
We have some that are 1 right now, so we go
Yeah.
very young.
And probably one of our, up to our 70s. So in the folks that in Fishers, for most of our self-directed, I would say they're probably
25 to 40.
25 to 40, late 20s to early 40s in terms of those folks who are with their homes. But it covers the full range from, toddler to 80, 70, 80, so.
Do you guys also provide like respite services for families?
If they have it, they can put respite on their waiver, but in terms of going back to Lucy's point, the ability to staff that time is really the challenge. But yes, respite could be a waiver service, and so you could put it on your waiver. It's the ability, the same thing a lot of the other providers have is the ability to staff it versus the ability to have it on the waiver. So.
Yeah, I see that all over, but I was just wondering if OPG was.
We're on the list.
You are on the list.
Lucy would tell you no right now that we can't staff it, but yes, we are on the list, so.
Do you have any deaf employees right now at your organization?
Not currently, but we have previously. We support some people who are deaf, and so we had hired 2 people who were deaf to support them.
Do you have any relationship with Aspire?
Yep. Right. Mm-hmm.
And I just recently learned that Aspire, they partner with the deaf school and they provide counseling.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of the school, paying maybe one of the counselors to go and work at the school all day and all year, Aspire actually provides 3 or 4 counselors for the same price that the state pays for 1.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good idea. Is that something that you guys are planning on doing as well?
Not necessarily that specifically. A lot of the folks that we have that have been through Aspire have kind of gone through Aspire, I would say, as part of their school years, and some have continued to go back from counseling, but mostly they come to us as they enter their adulthood.
So I guess what I mean is, Hamilton Southeastern Schools, they have, for what they're paying for 1 counselor, they're providing or do you guys provide counselors, like provide 3 instead of 1 or 2 instead of 1, for the same price, you understand what I'm saying? It's just to be able to save the school and in their budget.
Right. We don't have that type of model, yeah.
Okay.
So Michelle is part of our March Disability Awareness Committee, and she is leading the subcommittee on employment. And so she's going to talk a little bit about that, but that's some of the things that she's going to share in March with employers, with the One Zone people, about the need for businesses to know more about these programs and how they might be able to, meet those needs, employment needs, and also to build awareness of people looking for jobs, people that want to help people with disabilities, be shadowing, driving people to their work, and those kind of things. So we're hoping to really get more awareness out there of getting the community more engaged and connected with each other. So we really appreciate Michelle's involvement, and thank you so much for coming and providing us with more information. Are there any other questions? Thank you. So our next presenter is going to be George Martin, and George is a member of the Indiana Governor's Council for People with Disabilities. He's on the board, and he's going to talk about the Governor's Council's 5-year plan. So last year, they went around the state and they gathered information at town hall meetings and gathered information about people with disabilities and what are their concerns, challenges, issues, and they put all that information together and they came up with a 5-year plan. So George is going to talk about the findings and the 5-year plan, and I thought this would be a good opportunity for us to learn more about what are the issues statewide and how do they relate to issues here in Fishers, so that this is something as we're moving forward and forming some additional committees, what might be some of the things we might want to look at doing here in Fishers and exploring and researching more of how to help people here in Fishers. So without further ado, I want to introduce George Harton.
Thank you, Cecile. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. The Governor's Council of People with Disability, I joined a couple years ago, and we're excited to be on the board for that. We have about 20 people who serve on the board, and there's really no time limit for the seating. I think there maybe 4 years, 5 years, but really they don't set a time. So, I mean, you can serve as long as you can. It is an appointed position by the governor, and so I'm excited to be part of that. At the Indiana Council, the independent state agency for facilitated change, and our mission is to advance independent, productive, and inclusive people with disabilities in all aspects of society. The mission is accomplished through planning, evaluation, cooperating, education, research, and advocacy. On the 5-year plan, what we did was we traveled the state of Indiana last year in 4 different locations: Evansville, Fishers, Fort Wayne, and I believe it was up by Lafayette. And we did town hall meetings. We invited people who are disability, people who serve the community, advocates, and to attend the town hall meeting to give us a broad idea of what they think, what should be working for them, as far as education, transportation, healthcare, all that. We have a breakdown for you guys. That's part of what we do with the community support service. And so promoting the comprehensive system to resolve itself throughout community support engagement people with disability. So that's pretty much what we did, you know, as stakeholders, which is you guys, being involved, giving us your input. We were able to put together goals and outlines. And with this, we were able to present it to the governor and their staff about what we want to do, what we can change without asking for money. Basically, we receive about $1.5 million every year, and that money we give out to people who does advocate for, like Fifth Freedom, which is a really good company out of Muncie, I believe it is, or Fort Wayne, but they serve the whole state of Indiana. And there was other groups as well, and you know, they received $200,000, some of them received $90,000. We have ADA Indiana, they work with ADA coordinators all over the state of Indiana. They provide workshops and such. I think they received something like $20,000, maybe $30,000, something like that. That's something they get every year for 7 years. And then we will review the contract with the Governor's Council and then to approve them to continue, you know, if they're doing or meeting our goals. Promoting the comprehensive system to resolve the stuff to us, community support, engagement, people with disability, and objective to be, you know, promoting the education system, engaging the community in partnership, education, minimum, 400 people with disabilities and family members, and legal rights, and remedies, the home and community-based service, equity, etc. service, education, a minimum of 100 drug care providers and families. Actually, these are just really gold lines. You know, when we say a minimum of 400 people, you know, we can do more, but we won't want to make our goal too much. We're you know, in our meeting. So this is for the whole state. So I think those are the realistic numbers that we can work with. And So with the 100 people direct care providers, I think that's a very good realistic goal. And basically what we're doing is reaching out to them and getting them involved, more active and advocating for the community. When we're talking about employment, there's again to increase resources, access options, competitive integrated employment at living wages for people with disabilities. The big thing about that is we want to do away with below minimum wage. We want to do minimum wage or more, but we have to present that to the legislators and hopefully get that passed so that we'll make it all across the board minimum wage and above, and we will support that. Working with partners, including policymakers, employment, and Chamber of Commerce, that was a really good idea that I started here in Fishers back in 2009. I brought that up with ADA Task Force, which is now the ADA Roundtable. We thought maybe working with the Fishers Chamber of Commerce, doing internship often for people with disabilities, from schools. For example, the deaf school, which is in Indianapolis, but some of the students live here in Fishers. So if we can get some kind of internship going and partnership with Chamber of Commerce, finding people who be interested in providing that service for people with disabilities. So that was one of the objectives on that, and I was really excited for that. So through collaboration with the Indiana Institute of Disability and Community Indiana Disability Rights and the Council for Development of Disability Network, we will work in Indiana Association people supporting employment for services in depth and other partners and advocates for adoption and implementation of the statewide employment first initiative. To increase employment, youth transition from high school, that's a big one for us too, because we really want to push for what you guys are, the recent speaker was up here talking about, that transition, getting kids, finding out what their skills are, the levels are, and then putting them to work. But a lot of students get left behind when they graduate. They're stuck in that transition, or they don't have the skills that's what they need. So hopefully, partnership with other group to provide that kind of capability and skills set to give them a career pathway that they need. Education minimum rate 50 people with disabilities and about opportunities to become self-employed and create micro enterprise. And with that, there's a lot of students, who have skills that are music, building things, maybe wood shop or something maybe they want to build and sell. They can have their own enterprise in the business. So we'd like to promote that. Provide information on minimum of 1,500 educators and guidance counselors, employers, family members, education supportive staff, and address additional barriers, mission representation as well, highlight success about the employment of people with disabilities. Advocating about the sub-minimum wage while expanding other employment options. With healthcare, to reduce difficulties through ensuring equal access, health promotion, illness prevention, treatment, acute, chronic illness for people with disabilities. The objective of this is to identify and encourage the use at least 3 emerging approaches in promoting increased access to healthcare, such as the telemedicine and home visit, promoting healthy lifestyle, illness prevention through patient-focused healthcare education, equity awareness incentives, identify at least 4 barriers to women's health care, including preventive screening, healthcare access for women who have disability, and developing recommendations to address difficulty through outreach, education, and changes to policies and practice. The other is to identify and address the 4 policy practice findings, system barriers, access to mental health, addiction, service for people with disabilities. Identify and address at least 5 educational needs and policy changes to improve the appropriate access and respect for the people with disabilities in hospitals and other healthcare settings. All this information really is available at the Governor Council of People's website. And this year I have to read for that because if I don't read from that, I break the rules or I have legal issues, with my job. Anything I say becomes public, so I want to make sure I follow that. They provided this information to me, so I have to make sure I follow that too. This is a big one, transportation. One of the big issues we noticed that transportation is, for example, like Hamilton County. If somebody want to go to 82nd Street that lives in Fishers, the waiver system was set up, you can't do that. So we want to get rid of that. We want to talk with legislators and to provide that transportation for those who live outside the Hamilton County area, live just on the other side, like Noblesville or something. They want to go down to 82nd Street. People who lived in the country that has transportation issues. They don't have that access. So one of the ideas someone came up with is using Uber. Uber is probably an idea that we were looking into to see if somebody has a Lyft van, they can be able to provide that, go out to those areas, but the waiver to be used for Uber. So that's one of the things we're going to be looking into, and I'll cover that for you. The transportation increased resource access options for transportation for people with disability, identifying and address at least 4 transportation-related policy, practice, funding barriers, community employment, participation, conduct, activities, improve access to transportation and mobility. And just basically what I'm saying, that one example is Uber. Advocate for change in Medicaid waiver and regulation, policy related to transportation, again waiver. And identify to train at least 25 transportation service providers on disability equity with best riders' rights. That's a big one because a lot of times the curb issues at the bus stops, it's hard to get your wheelchair into the ramp area, get into the bus. Also, I brought up an issue beyond that. Deaf able to have some kind of alerting device to let them know where the next stop coming up. Give them like a warning, but it's good not just for deaf, but hearing as well, or people with low vision. That to be more accessible on the bus route. So that's just an idea that we're looking at, identifying and training, those 25 transportation services, how they can improve in that area. Increase transportation options, recommendation policy changes, reduce misutilization issues, to promote rider sharing, support additional funding and resources. Inclusion and advocacy. We wanted to put more, notice that there's a lot of divides. The people who have TBI, people who are actually deaf and blind, they're all like divided. It seems like these agencies, advocacy, are focusing on just that one area and leaving out that 1 or 2% of the disability when they should be more inclusive. So we wanted to lay out the objectives on how we can support that. So by doing support statewide organizations lead by self-advocates who will train others, self-advocates become leaders and expand participation in individual and development and disability, across disability, and cultural diverse correlation. Now, a lot of that we provide, the Governing Council will provide what we call policies and procedures making. We send a group of people out and do workshops. They learn about how they can work with legislators, how they write policies and procedures, and then we send them to DC, meet with governors and senators and president and so forth. We encourage them to really get involved on how they can make a difference when they're out there advocating. To assist at least 400 individuals with disabilities and family members to gain the knowledge and skills and opportunities to influence decisions that affect their lives, people with disability. Again, that goes with the policy and procedure workshop that we provide, which is free funding. Provide all the transportation, hotel, accommodation, all that for them. To promote mutual understanding and appreciation of people without disability through comprehensive campaign and others effort to result in participation of at least 2,000 individuals per year disability awareness events and activities. That's what we're doing at Fishers, during the March Disability Month. Last year, we reached out to over 2,000 people for multi-disability last year. So we know this year we're going to exceed that again. So working with schools, working with city councils, town, city officials, and so forth, church organizations, stuff like that. You guys probably familiar with the Disability Month awareness, and but what we want to say to led by the Indiana Governing Council of People with Disabilities, the goal of the Disability Awareness Month is to increase awareness, promote independent integration and inclusion of all people with disabilities. The council developed a unique theme for this annual event and procedure, campaign, and materials that are available free of charge for users who want to help make a difference. This was last year's inclusion with all people with disabilities. These are some of the posters that we had. These two, this guy here, he's deaf. The football player for the deaf school. And then the other person was girl, she's Coda. She actually good friends with him. And Coda is children of deaf adults. And her parents were deaf. And then the other group people we used, so we wanted to use real life people who lived in Indiana, and we wanted to let them know that, we care about them. We want to show their appreciation for what they're doing. Thank you.
Do you have any questions for George in terms of the council and their role, or anything that's struck you here with the different goals?
Wanted to give others a chance, though, to ask. This is something that I was hit up on in the presentation a few different times on some slides. I was curious about in the employment goals, and I think in the inclusion and advocacy, you touched upon it. And that, what I've heard from some different people is there are potentially, when we talk about employment, different needs for individuals, right, or different gaps in the system or challenges people face. So different needs perhaps individuals with developmental disabilities have, or versus obstacles others with physical impairments or visual impairments or hearing impairments face. Was that part of what you discussed? Because I saw called out on some slides, it said specifically developmental disabilities, but I guess I'm wondering, what about the other disabilities, and how did that play into the discussions?
Well, again, it goes back to the policy procedure or their mission statement is that we serve all disabilities. Right. So when we're talking about, we want to make sure with development disability, we want to include all disabilities, not just one focus on one. So basically, we are advocating for all of us. So the employment issues that we're facing, a lot of it is there's no cooperation with advocacies that we give money to. Their job is to try to promote that. We're working on, and that's the 5-year plan. So our goal is, in that during the 5-year span, we'll be meeting with those people. We'll be asking them what the policy and procedure about putting people to work. What are the issues you face? How we can work with you. Yeah. So we don't have the quick answer right away. So basically, that's what we have to send people out. Set up workshops. Invite the people in who does advocacy and try to show them what they can do, how they can tweak the policies and help themselves, promote better. So.
I think that's awesome, and I hear that. I was talking to Tom Dickey earlier, and he has children with wheelchairs, and so I was asking how they're doing, and someone who's involved in the community in Fishers, and his oldest son has been out of college a year, and it's a challenge interviewing, because he shows up in a wheelchair, and and so how do you help overcome those barriers, which is a different barrier that someone with another disability faces. And so I think the last 2 sessions, what's striking me, I guess, is what Janice provides in OPG, and I think you do a fantastic job, is what about some of these other barriers, and how, I'd be really interested in learning more about that and how we can help all of those, especially as we head into March. with some of our educational opportunities. So thank you. I don't, if anyone else has questions, please.
Well, George, would you like to share with us about the opportunity to attend the Indiana Conference on Disability?
Oh, right, yeah, the Governor Council, we offer a conference coming up in December 4th, 5th, until Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And that, I think, for the total conference is $175, and you can register online. Also, we'll be at the Hotel Resting downtown. So we do have I think over 35 workshops scheduled for the 2 days. So we're very busy. Hopefully we'll cover all aspects of everybody's questions they have about job, transportation, all that. And I think it'd be really good event. So if you guys are able to attend, please, I encourage you to send people who are looking for jobs, who want to have interview skills or, whatever, or send your staff down there because it'll be a lot of fun.
I agree with you in regards to transportation issues in Hamilton County. Are there any plans with the downtown transportation group?
Yeah, well, the plan future, I think a lot of the people with disabilities who are on waiver plan is to allow them to be able to use Uber, to use the service like what's the one in Noblesville? Janet's. Yeah, Janet's Transportation. They only serve Hamilton County, but if we can, and they have restrictions, because they only serve Hamilton County, they can't serve Marion County or Wyandotte or whatever other Marion County and all that. So we have to work with the legislators. So hopefully we can change that, and so that we can get those people downtown, get them, to Anderson, get them to other places. Now, as far as, I think that's a good question for Cecilia, because I'm not sure what Fisher is doing about before. I think last year or 2 years ago we had a bus service that did transportation downtown, but that stopped because it didn't pay off. So I'm not sure what, you guys probably answer that for him.
Well, right now, and Lee is here, right now there is not a specific plan per se. This is something that's these are challenges for all municipalities and for all people with disabilities, all, nationwide. But I was hoping that, maybe through this group that we could put together some kind of committee to kind of brainstorm some ideas that we might be able to present to our city leaders that could be maybe just a citywide plan to help with transportation to at least get the Fishers residents to where they need to be for employment, and
Yeah.
because we don't really have anything.
I think that kind of information would be really useful, understanding where people need to go, where the gaps are in service. I'm more and more convinced, curbside is really important. I sit on our Hamilton County Transit Board as the City of Fishers representative, mayor's designee. And so we talk a lot about that Hamilton County, transit plan. What does that look like? There are so many what ifs right now as we look to see what happens in Marion County as legislation is, pursued each year for what that continues to look like. But, I guess I was really struck when we were looking at the maps, if we were going to have a green line and what the interconnectivity would look like. And we still have this challenge of how you get people from their house to here, because we are designed as a suburb. We have some walkable nodes now, but for the most part, we are a traditional suburb, which is very difficult to apply mass transit thinking that you put and plop down in downtown Indianapolis here to work the same. So I think we have to get creative in how we solve those problems. I like the idea of Uber. I wonder about, is there enough, I've not even talked to Dr. Bork, I'm going to get a call later, but is there a way to look at some of those buses that are not being utilized in the evenings and weekends and partner with them for something creative? I think there's a lot yet to be explored. For me, it's understanding more. I like information, understanding more about where do people live now who have these needs, where is it they want to go? Because if we had a bus line that went downtown Indianapolis, it was not utilized. So where is it that we need to be able to get people to and from, and when? If Janice is able to provide these services, if that gets beefed up, when I say there are a lot of what ifs, budgeting's a big one. If that service is expanded for, then are we talking more about evenings and weekends? I don't know. I think absolutely we've got to break down these barriers between county and county. That's silly. There should be a way to do it. Let me know how I can support you in that way, and I'm happy to. So that's kind of where we are. We're still figuring out what we don't know and what we need.
Because even Janice, he had a student who we were helping try to figure out how to set up transportation and so forth.
Right.
Through Janice.
Right.
And he needed to go to Dr. Tavel because that's what his insurance
Would pay.
for an eye doctor.
Yeah.
Is Marion County.
That's right.
Janice would only go to 96th Street.
So do we call an Uber driver
on the
then?
Fisher side.
Yeah.
And they're like, we can drop you off at the corner or whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it is seriously like right there, like right
Yeah.
there. And so that was eye opening for me.
That's right.
Because I listened to the presentation when we were here this summer to listen to that, and I was just like, it was a little like I was just like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe this.
I know.
So it was hard.
Technically, that continues to be for our service, not only just employment,
Yeah.
but community involvement.
Plug into life. I know. I said, how do you get to a Tuesday night concert?
Right.
How do you get to a movie at Hamilton Town Center or wherever it is? 96th Street Theater with the reserved seating is where my kids like to go because inclines. But I think there's a lot more we can do in that regard. I agree. It's frustrating.
It is. It has to be that turn around and employment.
Ah.
Because of it, and especially because, Hamilton County Express was great, but it's not.
That's right.
It doesn't.
That's right.
And it doesn't run those
That's right.
or whatever. So, you're talking about a student that is working 30 to 40 hours, but he can't commit to a certain schedule or flexibility because he only works.
So when we talk about the
So
gaps,
that's even within Hamilton.
that's right. When we talk about the gaps, I think it's when Janice isn't working, evenings and weekends, and it's that cross county. So what can we do?
And even Janice has certain capacity.
They do. And certain requirements because of their funding.
Delegate their schedule, but they only have so many seats, so
Right.
many buses, and
Right.
so many drivers. So what happens if you, beyond their capacity as well? There are people that are capacity. And Shelley and I were talking that Denny, you picked up 2 hours before work. Well, Denny fortunately is able to in the break room and appropriately whatever. We have students that are fabulous. They work 2 hours unstructured with just
It
way too
would-
much. But again, it's wonderful if they can get there.
That's right.
And we understand that, it's impossible for anybody like that to submit, but unfortunately, some of our students, that was a long time for some of them to sit.
For anyone.
Right, yeah.
Thank you so much. And to
Yeah,
OPG
thank you,
for being
thank you, thank you. This has been very informative. So as we know, there are a lot of challenges, a lot of areas to explore and to do, and so this is why we kind of decided to, at least this group, this was something that we could do, is start the March Disability Awareness Committee. And so we met this summer, and I guess in my mind, I thought if we did this and we spent the whole month of March providing awareness and information, we could get the community going and get some momentum going, and maybe through that awareness, then we form other committees, right? And build upon what we did last year. So for those of you that weren't here last year we had a rally to kick off March Disability Awareness Month. At the December conference at the Governor's Council for People with Disabilities Conference, they will unveil the theme for the 2017 March Disability Awareness theme. And so we'll know in December what that theme is, and then we'll use that theme to do our promoting. And so so now I just kind of wanted to update you on all the different committees and what we're planning on doing for March Disability Awareness Month. I think it's unbelievable. We've have a lot of great people that are working on this, and I'm always welcome to more people. So if you were not part of our meetings this summer and would want to join the March Disability Awareness Committee, please let me know, and we'll plug you in if there's an area of interest or anything like that. So So we had a lot of different areas. So just for some history, the city of Huntington, Indiana, and the city of Monticello, though they have been two cities that for the last 5 years plus, they have been doing a whole month-long disability awareness campaign. So we're gonna do this, and what I'm really excited about is we will be the only city in Hamilton County that will be doing anything like this. So I'm really excited, and I'm really thrilled that our mayor, our deputy mayor, our staff in the city, they all just said, Cecilia, you know, just let's do it. You know, I don't know much about it, but let's get going, and I'm seeing a lot of momentum and energy, and I'm really, really excited. So what we did this summer is we kind of got all these ideas together, and we boiled it down to just a few things that we wanted to do, because obviously there's a lot, but we thought, what can we do that's manageable and that's doable for the month of March? So do you want to start, Leslie? One of the things we're working on is a comedy night, and so I'll let Leslie talk. She's heading up our comedy night, and I think we have a date already set, but do you want to talk about that?
So, you can mark your calendars, Friday, March the 10th. Kind of as, like almost a kickoff at the beginning of the month. We will have a comedy show that will benefit, we're looking at Special Olympics in Hamilton County. It will be located at Pinhead Fishers. They have a hall there called Britton Hall that actually you don't get charged for using the hall. And I do have a connection with a comedian whose daughter I taught in class, and then also my husband did a comedy class through him. And he actually does a comedy show that also provides some awareness of some disabilities, especially autism. His daughter is on the autism spectrum, but does it in a way that I can't explain it until you actually see the show, but it brings people together in a way that it's lighthearted, but you're also at the same time, parents come up to him afterwards and are like, I totally get what you're saying, and those kind of things. So he will kind of do part of that as his comedy act, and then two other individuals will also just do part of their comedy act, kind of like to fill the show, so to speak. But we're looking at having Special Olympic athletes that will introduce the comics. So having them, it will be an adult-oriented show. I know that Scott will have his daughter Maddie there, who she is junior high age right now, but she comes on and steals the show a little bit at the beginning. So she will be there for part of it. And then we're also looking at having a little bit of a silent auction there that evening. So as you're thinking, and anybody would like to help out and think about like highlighting maybe even, because we haven't talked with you about this, over the weekend I thought about this, but like some of the businesses that do employ some of our individuals with disabilities already, to have them provide some of the silent auction items so that they can also kind of be in the limelight about that they do employ people with disabilities. So that's what we're looking at so far for the comedy show. I was just in touch with Jack Vermillion. He's the guy at Pinheads, and they're all about it. They're very excited. Awesome.
Good.
And so they will help promote as well, and I'm sure that we'll talk about promotion and so forth as the time grows nearer.
And this has been done before, and so that's why she has been intricately involved on this. So we thought, okay, you've done this before, that's easy, so we'll put you in charge. And then
I think it sounds great.
yes, and then Patrick, you want to talk about what you're going to be doing with an exhibition on disabilities?
Sure. I guess I should also mention that I'm also a proud parent of a student with special needs as well. So March 17th. We are set for 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the Fishers High School gym. Just want to go ahead and call this an athletics showcase. The gym is not going to cost us anything to rent the gym since I work there, and Rob Seymour just said that we've got it. So this is what I'm looking for. I've got commitments from, I'm looking at an agenda of 4 or 5 different activities. Power soccer, has committed. They said yes. They may have an out-of-town tournament that weekend, but she said they could probably maybe get 4 people together for a small demonstration. So we're good there. Duval's Gymnastics, they have a unified gymnastics team. She said they are in, and all they need is just the mats to do the performance, and we have the mats, so that's no problem there. So they will do 1 or 2 performances, routines, and again, that's a unified team. Special Olympics Hamilton County basketball is in, so there's youth teams, like 8 to 18, and then there's adult teams, and my goal is if we can get, 10 to 15 minutes for each team of scrimmage or play each other, or, bring in some other teams. So that's going to be a go. So we have 3 activities already. Looking at maybe a 4th, and I know Stacy has talked about getting some Indy 11 players, or maybe even the U.S. Paralympic soccer team to come in and speak and maybe sign autographs. So that would be maybe another event for that evening. We will have a DJ at no cost. That's Mark Williams, who's also a teacher at the high school, is a DJ. He's fantastic. So he's in, and he also coaches on the unified team with me. Right now, RHI wheelchair basketball declined. I'm still working on them, but they said no right now, but I'll keep plugging away at that. Okay.
Nothing is not persistent.
Right. So, that's what we have, and I know that's a very full night, but I'm, thinking of other things if we need to fill in some time, some audience participation, bringing people down for a free throw shootout, or 3-point shootout, or maybe some type of a skills challenge, to set up in the gym. I'm going to ask our boys and girls basketball team for just volunteers to help out. We probably won't need to get officials. I have adults in the building that will officiate. Other administrators at the school will officiate. That's no problem. Concessions, we'll be able to have concessions. And I'll have that staffed by parents of the Fishers and hopefully even the HSE Unified Track Team. And they will share in the profits there. They can get like 20% of the profits for concessions. So I'll just talk to the PTO people. That's no problem. You get that done either. Okay?
Your connections are very helpful, sir.
And I think, the only other need we'll probably have is maybe make sure we have an ASL interpreter for the event. And I think that's a full 2 hours that we'll have planned. My idea was, I know obviously we can't charge for the event, but to accept donations at the door, and we will share all donations between all of the organizations that are there. So Power Soccer, DeVos Gym, Special Olympics Hamilton County will all share evenly in what's donated. That I have to talk to Stacy. She's kind of the connection there. And so, perfect. So
You are now on the committee. Welcome.
Yeah, hired.
Stacy Oldham is not here. She's in Barcelona with her son playing soccer, but she has a connection with the Indy 11 soccer team, and they were interested in actually sponsoring the Paralympic team to come and be here for this event. So she's working on that. So she's really excited. So the other thing that Leah mentioned is we're going to do the unveiling of the wheelchair glider in Holland Park, and thank all of our sponsors there and do a nice event. We're also working on an art display at City Hall. We'll be working with the Fishers Arts Council, with the Nickel Plate Arts Council as well. Warren, what is Warren's name?
Warren Miller.
Warren Miller is an artist who is deaf, and he's going to be displaying his artwork along the Edge building in Fishers. And so we're going to have his artwork being displayed in March, for March. We're working on an art banner contest, so with Tom Bell and our school system. As soon as we get our theme in December, we'll be able to launch that out into the schools. So we're going to have a contest at elementary, junior high, and high school, and the kids that win, their banners will be displayed along City Hall. And then each year, we'll just keep adding banners, and those banners will go to the side streets, and we're going to find some sponsors to do like a gift card or something for the winners. Let's see. Michelle and Christy, do you want to talk about the employment piece? We've got an employment piece, and they can talk about that, what we're going to do.
We're working on what we're calling the lunch and learn. We're looking at March 21st to 23rd, I think is what it is. Really to invite business owners to come in and learn more about hiring individuals with disabilities. We're going to have some of the players that we work with at the school level or the adult level come in on a panel and allow people to express what they were so nervous about, what was your biggest reservation, what is most difficult, get all of those difficult questions out there so that people can hear, they're not the only people who think that and how other people overcome. Decided that we kind of do a little bit, here I have, Scott Wise, he was recognized for being a huge employer of individuals with disabilities and growing that number tremendously each year. The goal. I have it back, so if anybody knows has a connection to him, I gotta know that.
Scott Wise.
I mean, I go there all the time. You think you can see my credit card from I used to sit there with my hands there all the time. But the hope would be that maybe he could come, just for 15 or 20 minutes, talk about it. Because he himself was not really wanting to get involved in the program. And, had a tremendous personal experience with her. And then kind of changed that attitude. And now just loves the idea and is confident the employees that the school or service provider give them are much better employees than the people just walk off the street. So it's kind of impressed. So we are looking for donations for the food. We were kind of going back and forth if we were going to do like a box lunch thing or, Michelle and I talked about talking to some people that actually employ our just so that they could have a little marketing experience. We've got a ton of support at like Chick-fil-A and some of the other like Kroger's too. Kroger's actually invited us to the grand opening, who's recognizing the transition department for all of the work they've done in the community. So that's a huge thing. So I think that's when I could, see a Kroger to be, but just way to keep costs down, but also to give recognition to the employers that are working. And then the end, we talk about how many times, they could, connect with each other, maybe just short little responses so that if they have questions or they did want to ask that would like Michelle or myself to address, that would directly do it. Or if they want more information or if they want us to connect them, that would allow an easy way for us to do it as well. Talk about the new client, to be the moderator, we talked about John Wexler, who's got a program over at Launch Fishers that is just going wonderfully. It's so exciting to see the kids go there and interaction. You have to have a job coach there anymore because they do so well. But so you talk about having him get up there and talk about it or being moderator himself. So that's where we're on that. And the only reason why we're a little flex on the dates is because I wasn't sure what Scott's availability is. So if we don't hear from him soon, then we'll lock him on the time.
And I, go ahead.
Heard some, a lot of the initiatives around employment with the governor's council of the city, and really it started that conversation with the employers to say, like, they're seriously like, so somebody who's in a wheelchair, when am I supposed to
What
say?
can you say? What can you ask?
Or,
How do you
those
work
type of
through
things.
it? Yeah.
It really is an employer-based event to have that open, honest conversations about. So what happens if?
Yes.
So somebody comes in and what if it was a bad day? What are supports available?
Right.
Who do I call? To really have some of those open, honest conversations. And then take it from there to start looking at job fairs or other follow-up opportunities, but to really start that dialogue of what does employment for people with disabilities look like in Fishers? As an employer, what does that mean? And to really start that conversation.
That's great.
And I have some updates, actually. So we are looking at having it at Launch Fishers and inviting the One Zone Chamber and also the Launch Fishers businesses to come. And I did speak with John Wexler, and he did say that he wanted to use their nameless caterer, the nameless caterer, because that's their caterer of choice.
They have
and
an exclusive contract.
yes, and I guess they like working them because they don't ding the walls and all kinds of stuff. They said they know the routine and everything. So we'll work on figure out like cost-wise what we can do with that. But basically, we're going to highlight the success stories of the relationships too that Fishers is doing right now. So Chrissy this summer approached Launch Fishers, and so now the kids from the high school are going there and working in the coffee shop, and it has exceeded their expectations. And so those businesses there are engaging with all those students, and there's a lot of relationships and good energy coming from that. So we're going to highlight that. We're going to highlight Scott Wise, if we can get him. Anderson Shanrock, he has employed, he's a business owner here, and he employed someone, I think it's either deaf or blind, I can't remember. He said he'd be willing to come and talk. But basically, we want the employers to know, these high school kids are wanting some experience, real world experience, where they can learn their skills and shadow. Then there's organizations like OPG and Janus that are looking for businesses too and opportunities after high school. And then hopefully the businesses can say, well, we're looking for, hospitality, we're looking for housekeeping, we're looking for filing, we're looking for, and so maybe like sort of like a Match.com kind of situation where they can interact and provide contact information so that then later they can kind of come together and bring some more awareness. So we're also doing a transition fair. So this year, if you want to talk about that, Chrissy, of what we're doing with that.
You would have to move yours.
Technology, I know, was another. Oh, Lifesaver, yes.
Oh, yeah. So Project Lifesaver, so all types of different vendors that will be there to help families, on the waiver. People will be there to help apply, do the applications for the waiver, and social services, everything that you can imagine that anybody with a disability would need access will be represented there. We had, I believe, 82 vendors. Wow. Last time, close to 300 visitors. So it's a pretty big deal.
Is that HSE High School you said? Fishers High School. And that's, so both nights.
Everything I listed in Fishers High School.
I understand. I understand.
And I know, George, you wanted to make sure that we had some technology, and Tom Bell also wanted to make sure that at the transition fair we had some tables, information about new technology that's out there to help people with disabilities as well. So, so the other, go ahead.
Well, related to technology, I'm happy to be a part of that with video relay service for those who use sign language.
That would be wonderful.
Or maybe hearing loss, so can't tell the person there. So we'd like that. We'd be willing to have a table there to educate.
Okay, wonderful.
If I can get your email, that would be fabulous. We have the information.
Great. That would be great. So the other two things that we're adding to this too, with the help of the city is going to be helping us getting all this out in terms of publicity, communication, getting it out in the Current, in the Fisher's Talk magazine. The other thing we're going to work on is for the whole month of March, we're going to tweet out some facts of ADA, you know, information of did you know, whatever, pictures maybe of showing like, you know, there's been some issues with parking, with ADA parking, disability parking, you know, hey, look at this picture, you know, this is, the misuse of the parking, you know, or whatever. And so every day there's going to be a tweet or a Facebook or something that will highlight information about employment, about all different types of disabilities. So if you have any ideas, we're looking for, facts, some pictures, anything that you might be able to provide the city so that we can start working of like the information we want to launch out every day.
And I think last year, I'm sure that they will do it again, the Governor's Council provided a lot of resources for that. We pulled from it a little bit in March last year. We'll do that again this year, but there were worksheets on etiquette, there were worksheets on, you name it, so I think those resources are still online, and I'm sure we'll pull from that again. So we won't have to start from scratch. There's a lot of good out there.
So one of the biggest things that we're going to accomplish here, and that I left it to the end, is we're going to do a day in the life of people with disabilities. So what we're planning on doing, they do this in Huntington, and they do it in the city of Monticello, but we're going to do ours a little bit different. I've been talking with those folks over there and getting ideas, but basically the vision that I have and kind of what I wanted to get feedback from the group is I was thinking about either having 2 or 3 groups of maybe 5 people with disabilities partnered up with 5, so that you'd have like 15 invitations. We'd invite like the mayor, city officials, business leaders, developers, people, we can talk about a list of people that we'd want to invite. And so basically they would shadow someone with a disability. So they would start early in the morning. We'd invite the media to come and interview people as they're getting their equipment. So we might have someone that would be in a wheelchair or scooter that day, someone in with goggles to mimic being blind, or earplugs and headphones that would mimic, being deaf, different disabilities. So my thought was to kind of start somewhere and maybe go to breakfast. So maybe envision like 5 people with disabilities partnered up with 5 people from the community, and you guys go off and have breakfast. And so they have to kind of navigate, get there to the breakfast location. You could talk and have breakfast, and then those people go on their day, and they still have their disability all day long. And then we reconvene around 4:30 till, we would end like around 5:30, 4 to 5:30 with refreshments, and do a panel, have a moderator with a panel, and just have a discussion as to, how was your day, what was your thought. And so the people invited to participate would be shadowing the people that have a disability, but they would also have the disability that day. And it's very powerful. The lady, Kathy Gross, who is the ADA coordinator for the city of Monticello, she used to be on the city council, and now she's the ADA coordinator. She says, oh my gosh, she says people cry, they laugh, they share, and it's really moving. So I'm trying to decide right now, with the input of everybody, kind of how best to go about doing this, because one of the thoughts I had is to maybe highlight Sutton Crossing. So Sutton Crossing, we have 3 residents here from Sutton Crossing. They were here last month, and they shared at the end of the meeting that they were having some issues with accessibility with the sidewalks there. They have a beautiful pond in the middle of their neighborhood, and those homes are single-story homes, duplexes, and there are a lot of people with disabilities that live there, and they couldn't take a walk around their area. And since then, the city's gone in and they've fixed everything, did ramps. It's a beautiful story, and so we wanted to highlight that story and maybe even start the day there, and everybody meet there, meet some of the residents that are there. Maybe some of the residents that live there would want to participate in the day and go to breakfast. So that's kind of an idea. I just kind of wanted to get feedback from the group to see thoughts of who would maybe want to be a part of this day, and maybe thoughts on where we should start the day. But that's kind of what I was thinking. Any thoughts? Wilbur, do you have any thoughts on that?
I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea to shadow. I think one of the advantages we'd have over at Sutton Crossing is we've got people with all sorts of disabilities, but we got people, just aged, with limited access, and I think that would be very positive.
So what I'd like to have is representation of all disabilities there in each group. So having maybe, like I said, 3 groups of 10, so 5 with disabilities, 5 people shadowing, and they go to 3 different breakfast locations. They talk. We meet in the morning at a location there. We have a lady that's with superior mobility, and she is helping us with a lot of the equipment, with wheelchairs and things like that, with vans. So we're set with a lot of the resources. Now it's just a matter of finding out who would like to be a participant in terms of representing the disability. I'm hoping that we could utilize a lot of the people here tonight, as well as getting ideas of who we would want to invite to be part of this day. But I think it's going to be very impactful. And then we got to decide, do we want to try to do this maybe towards the end of the month? And so we don't really have a set day, but I wanted to kind of talk to you guys there to see if maybe that might be a logical place to start, because so many people with disabilities live there that we could maybe make that the starting point of the day, and then reconvene here at City Hall with refreshments and a discussion. Any thoughts, Leah?
Well, and this is a question for the group that it kind of came to me today as I was reading through everything and preparing. I think that the shadowing and the discussion is so important, and I love that idea. We can figure out how we structure it. Is there any sensitivity that we need to have to, if I sit in a wheelchair and wheel around all day, I'm not sure that I really understand what that means. I might see some of the limitations, but I also want to be sensitive to understanding there's more of an impact to that person's life than what I might experience. And I guess I just don't want to
Then don't get a superior wheelchair for that person. When you say you have that ready for them, have them have to call Hamilton County Transportation and arrange their,
that's a good point.
And that's one example. I just want, like I said, I think shadowing and talking and learning more is really important. I want to be sensitive to how we do it.
I don't think they have to be in a wheelchair. I think they could shadow somebody in a wheelchair, or they could shadow
And you would
somebody with a
observe.
walker. You're absolutely, if you're the person in charge of transporting them, even
You're
though
gonna
you're not
see
in
it,
a
aren't you?
wheelchair,
Yeah.
you understand what obstacles come in the way. I mean, simple things, but they would see those firsthand. You try to get into a restaurant in a wheelchair, and the only door that opens is the one that blocks the chair that you can't get around to get in. It's little things, but I think there are things that the city just needs to be aware of.
What do others think about that?
Because I have to say on that, please. My husband calls me a lot, and other families, but anyway, even my mother, who calls me to speak on my husband's way, she wasn't fully aware, and she raised me, and and so sitting
And I guess when I said provide something, I mean, in my mind too, I was also thinking like, you know, like let's say the mayor, if he was in a wheelchair, whatever, we would give him notice to say, okay, you have these options to get around. You could call Janice, you could get a mobility van, you could have I don't know, we could just make sure so that he's able to make his appointments and do whatever he needs to do all day, but.
All of that in addition to just using the wheelchair.
Right.
As probably eye-opening enough, It was.
That's interesting.
I think it's also eye-opening, just to go, sometimes the families that I work with, just to go with that family, and I'm sure OPG has this a lot, just to go with that family to someplace in public.
Right.
Like, even if you're not necessarily, you're still following and shadowing them, but just to go someplace with them to see, I hear from families all the time, well, my kiddo starts to have a meltdown and people are staring at me, people say things that aren't appropriate, those kind of things. So even those kind of things for someone on the outside, maybe to experience that with a family as well, would be
That's interesting.
another, like,
Yeah, it is
day in the
very
life
interesting.
kind of thing. It's kind of a little bit of a different twist, but
Yeah, we
You
even
can really see what it's like and what they're experiencing in that moment. That's interesting.
Yeah, we talked about, didn't we, Patrick, about having something like even kids with autism or whatever, that like having people just shadow the families having to, go to
Because
go
those are
out to
things,
eat.
the sensory issues, those are much harder to duplicate. but-
right, that's what I'm talking about, like that sensitivity part. That would be harder to, to actually feel that during your time during the day, whatever you were doing, but to shadow that, or even go to a place like that.
Or they can just follow us around when we go out to eat, and then, then they'll get to see.
Something like that, exactly.
Well, we even talked about maybe a group would go visit the school and, instead of, so we have that avenue as well. So I'm open to ideas. Like I said, I just wanted to get some feedback. And so this is kind of what the whole month is going to look like. We had to kind of narrow things down, but I see this as something like we just expand upon what we're doing every year and, provide some awareness. And then the last, I guess, part is I was thinking about seeing if maybe we could even hold one of our ADA roundtable meetings in March and maybe just have a speaker come and talk about disability etiquette and the people first language of, I think a lot of people don't know how to ask someone about their disability. What do I say? Do I say deaf? Do I say hearing impaired? Do I, across the board, like what language do we use? What terminology? We don't want to disrespect anybody. So I think a lot of people don't know how to talk to people and what terms to use. And so I thought, I'm looking at possibly maybe for one of our ADA, we can invite the community, and maybe it's not a formal ADA roundtable meeting, but it's just hey, we're going to have this speaker to talk about disability etiquette, and everyone's invited to learn more. So that was just one more thing. So if you have any ideas, please email me. And I was just, like I said, I hadn't really talked to the Sudden neighbors or the residents, but I was hoping that you'd be interested in getting involved and being a part of our day in the life. And then, like I said, I'm hoping that if you're interested, we could get everybody here to be a part of it that day, either attending that morning to see everybody getting their equipment and interacting, or actually, being a part of the groups that go out for the breakfast. And like I said, I'd like to have each disability represented as much as possible. So that's the update on that. Does anyone have any questions on March Disability Awareness Month, or wanting to add anything else? The last part of our... Oh, yeah.
I might recommend for Indiana School for the Deaf. I might recommend them because students from here at Fishers, a Bluff students, even though the deaf school is in Marion County, I'm sure that there's a lot of information that's left out there, so maybe we could invite them here to our event.
That would be great. That would be great. Well, let's put that on the agenda to have someone from the deaf school come and talk about, that's one thing I don't know much about, I'll be honest with you, in terms of the issues and challenges in the deaf community. So maybe we could have that as the next, at our next meeting, just more information about that as well.
I've got a note suggestion here for my athletic showcase. I'm going to contact the deaf school to see if they can bring their basketball team.
Oh, great.
Oh, great. Wonderful.
Part of our program.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
great.
I think maybe 2 years ago, they did, I had a black who was in a wheelchair, who was running around, and the whole basketball team requested the community to give wheelchairs so they can all play with that one person.
Okay.
Story.
Oh, that's neat.
Good.
So the next few minutes, I guess, is just kind of wanted to see, last time, part of this group is sharing of information, and a lot of times, the city is the last to know about areas of concern or an issue going on in a community, and so I just wanted to highlight a success of this group is Bob Faust last time at our last meeting, shared with our group that there was a community in Fisher's Sudden Crossing where there were a number of people with disabilities there, and the sidewalks were buckled, and there needed some repairs, and there were no ramps to access the round sidewalk area around the pond, everything. And since then, the success story is that the city found out about it. We went out there, the Public Works Department, and they got that all fixed. And Bob sent me an email. I can share with the group, but he sent a picture of one of the residents there with her scooter and going around. So that's awesome. So that's a really good success story. So right now, I guess I wanted to open it up for any other areas of interest or concern that maybe we can talk about and bring to the attention of the group.
And I'm going to note, because I like to end meetings on time, that we will adjourn at 7:30.
Yes, yes.
And if you have more questions, let us know. We'll be around. But yeah, we'll let you go home at some point tonight.
You're talking about success stories, right? Okay. I think back in 2011, or maybe it was even 2010, I had told a story about a movie that was happening over in the park. They were showing a movie on a Friday night. And one time I had mentioned that there was no closed captioning for the deaf and hard of hearing. And immediately, Tony Elliott, who was the Parks and Recs person at that time, anyways, immediately they recognized that, said that there was a need for that. And immediately the very next Friday, and then from then on out, they made sure that all of the movies were closed captioned for the deaf and hard of hearing. Because there's just no way to know who is deaf and who's not, or even hearing. So definitely from here on out, closed captions were put on all the movies. And that was so nice. It was a nice success story.
That's awesome. It is.
Yeah, and I have a concern for myself. I've lived here for almost 6 years now, and I myself am deaf, my wife is deaf, and my children are hearing. They're not going to school yet, but since I've lived here, I love living here. I just can't leave here. But the only thing that I feel is missing is the events. For me, all of my friends, they all go to Indiana School for the Deaf, and even go to Marion County. All of the information, all the events are there. I have no friends here in this area, so I have no idea what's even happening. For example, last Friday, the Boo Bash. I had no idea that was even going on. I was at a pizza place, the Brax, and I saw so many people walking around. I had to ask the people, strangers, I'm like, hey, what's going on? They're like, oh, there's a Halloween party. And I felt bad for my kids because they didn't get to go, because all of them learned it from their Hamilton Southeastern or Fisher, or sometimes even just gossip. So we're leaving the deaf community out. We do feel left out because Marion County, those are things that happen there, but not here. So it'd be nice for us to be able to improve in announcing those events, maybe whether it's online or through a brochure, but some ways so that we can include more of the deaf and hard of hearing community here in Fishers and not have them go to.
Just to respond to that, and I had some neighbors who didn't know about it as well, and I said, how did you not know? I clearly needed to talk more about it. A couple of ways that we communicate our events, and for those of you, if you don't know, this is for anyone, Think Fishers, our monthly magazine, it's in there. We publish all of those events. Boo Bash was in that. So if you live in Fishers, you should receive, it used to be called Town Talk, now it's Think Fishers. Check that out. Our Parks and Rec events are always listed there. We also have a listserv. You can go to fishers.in.us to the website, and it says, we're actually getting ready to update our website, but right now it still says Fishers Alerts. It's not scary. We don't mean, there's something bad happening. It's just a way to sign up for news. You can click on that, and there are different listservs that you can sign up for. The most popular, believe it or not, has to do with our road construction. So every Friday, we send out an email that is for Drive Fishers, and on Friday, you'll get this email that tells you all of the upcoming projects for the next week. So if there's a lane closure or road closure, you can find out and plan accordingly. We do have something there for our events. So you can sign up for a listserv there, and you'll get an email about our events. If you want to see every meeting and agenda, we post, and we post a lot, so be careful if you decide to sign up for this, you can sign up for that email as well. We also have the nickel plate listserv is what you would want. We call this area here the nickel plate, and so any community events we have back here, that's the listserv that would go out on. We have a nickel plate app you can download on your phone. It's Android and Apple compatible, and all of the events are listed there as well. And we've got different restaurants and retailers and businesses in this area who are promote their events through that as well. So it's a great app if you're looking for what's happening here. Those are good ways to connect. If you are on Facebook, our Parks and Rec, we have a Facebook page specifically for our Parks and Rec. So you can like that, and we promote all of our events that way too. So those are some ways that you can find out what's going on, and we do share these with the current. If you receive the current pound where you live in Fishers, you might get the current at Geist, you might get the current in Fishers, you might get nothing. But if you do receive the current, we do try to promote our events using the current as well, but it is a little more hit and miss. So I would definitely encourage you to read the Think Fishers, to sign up for those news alerts, and there are many to choose from, and then to follow us on Facebook if that's something you're interested in doing. Our general Fishers Facebook page, we're on Twitter too, but our general Fishers Facebook page has more general Fishers news. So if you're really interested in the events or what's happening in the community, the Parks and Rec page is more specific. So that's just a way to connect.
There's a Park and Rec magazine that goes out.
So there is it's usually part of Think Fishers. So every month in Think Fishers, we'll say what's coming up, but we do have a Parks and Rec magazine that go out in the spring and in the fall, and kind of tell you everything that's going on. But sometimes we add things, so that's why if you follow Think Fishers or the Facebook or the listserv, you won't miss it.
So I will tell you that we have students make the goodie bags for.
Oh, I know you know. You should share that story.
So
be careful what. Yes,
yes,
thank you.
there was a lot to this. But our kids enjoyed doing that, so I appreciate Tony the community.
That was so fabulous.
And they knocked it out really fast.
How many bags? So it was a great partnership. Our parks director, we had coffee, and boy, his eyes lit up when he realized he might have a whole group of volunteers.
I'm like, hey, you want us to do it? I know that. No.
There were like 10,000 bags delivered, and I don't know how many. It was an unbelievable turnout Saturday night. It was really neat. It was definitely our largest that we've had so far. So that was exciting. Thank you.
Yeah, so.
Just another little success thing I haven't involved in the talk about it, but since we're kind of, you can throw that out into people. My son is an HSE junior, and he's got CP and power wheelchair, and he's already on the Fishers Bears Council.
Yes.
And I just want to give a shout out to Dan.
Yes, fantastic. Yep. That is true. But I'm so glad he's a part of it.
That's wonderful.
It's really cool that they
Yeah.
accepted this application.
So when the mayor met with them the first day to kick that off, he returned and said, well, how did it go? And he said, they want me to get on Snapchat. And I'm like, no! We don't need to, I don't even understand Snapchat. My niece tried to show me, we were driving down south together, and I gave up. That's great.
Well, I want to thank everybody for coming. If you want to stay for a few minutes and network with people, that's part of it too, is this group is I'm wanting people to meet each other and to connect, and please stay for a little bit if you'd like. I know a lot of people need to get going, but I'll stick around, and I can give you my card, and you can email me if you have any ideas or would like to be a part of one of the subcommittees that we talked about today. Please let me know. We've got another one. When is the next one come? Did we come up with the next date? Do you know, guys? Okay. I can let you know.
That sounds awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone
everybody.
for all you're doing. Great.
Yeah. Wonderful. Okay.